Movements October 17, 2016, bring warnings and watches till October 21st, 2016. This week and the passing week, we had a lot of weird activity going on with space from CME that hit Earth. The electric charge was from the 13th till today, the 17th. Solid storms, increase in speeds, increase in velocity, increase electrical. All right, folks. So all these storms been seeded and are powerful from the space weather, from the CME that erupted. Okay. Also, we are seeing earthquakes in the West Pacific. We're seeing two typhoons back to back. We'll put warnings and watches in a second, and earthquakes, definitely earthquakes. And I'll bring it up later, but I'm still putting warnings and watches between October 24th till October 27th for incoming asteroids. So between the 24th and 27th next week, I want everyone out there, be prepared. Keep an eye out. Be in touch with the news or have a news app just in case. And we're going to learn more later on this week. So let's start off with space weather. Right now, AR2602 can produce. It could produce CME, but won't be powerful to affect the Earth. AR2600 is moving around the sun, so we're safe from that. And erupted last week when we got that CME. All right. We did have this moon over the weekend. So I'm putting warnings and watches definitely on the earthquake-prone areas, around the Ring of Fire, on the west coast of the U.S., the west coast of Canada, Central America, Japan, China, Indonesia, Thailand, Hawaii, Peru, all South America, a couple places. We're going to get into the earthquake warnings in a second, but the supermoon, pulls at the earth, not just the high tides, but also at the earth's crust. And when my system is updated and we're bringing you up to date in December, I'm going to bring you the full scope of the weather with all the planets. All right. Now let's look at, there's a coronal hole. And right now, as we speak, Earth is inside a stream of solar wind from the indicated coronal hole, as we can see. So it's still going on. So I'm going to put warnings and watches for storms to still increase till I do my next weather update, unless there's an emergency situation where I got to come back online. But till October the 21st, 2016. So all storms out there will increase till October 21st. And I'm putting warnings and watches for major earthquakes till the 21st too, as I will show you from the space wind and from the CME and supermoons and the lining of the planets. Okay, let's move on to earthquakes real fast. So I'm on RSOE. As we scroll down, we had a 3.2 in Greece, a 2.2 in Hawaii, a 2.0 in Nevada, 3.1 in New Zealand, a 2.2 Hawaii, 2.2 in Hawaii. Now we come over, I'm putting warnings and watches around the volcanoes in Hawaii. Warnings and watches for volcano activity and eruption in Hawaii till October 21st. Okay, we had a 4.8 in Papua New Guinea, 4.8 in Papua New Guinea. All right, between that, we had a 2.4 in New Zealand, a 4.6 in Yemen. All right, so I put warnings and watches for moderate to major earthquakes anywhere between another 6.0 to 7.0 in Papua New Guinea, putting a warnings and watches anywhere from a 4.0 to a 6.5 in Yemen in the Middle East. We had a 3.2 in Russia, nothing to worry about there, folks. But the one in Russia is near a volcano, so warnings and watches for volcanoes around this region. And North Ossetia and Russia for volcano activity. Another 4.6 in Yemen. We had 2.5 in California, 2.4 in California, 2.2, 2.0 in California, 2.0 in Alaska, 3.2 in Greece. So that's the second Greece one. And you think I'm scrolling over California, United States, and the West Coast? They're prone to small earthquakes every day, 1,000. All right, but I am putting warnings and watches because we did have a supermoon. We're in space when till probably around the 19th, but the storms will keep increasing to the 21st. All right, folks. So warnings and watches for the West Coast of the United States, like I already said, West Coast of Canada. So as we scroll down, we had a 3.2 in Greece, warnings and watches for moderate to 6.5 biggest around the European region, Greece, Italy, Mediterranean Sea. As we scroll down, we had 2.6 in Turkey, 2.2 in New Zealand, 2.2 again in California, 2.2 in California. All right, normal. Ain't nothing to panic about. I do got warnings and watches from the supermoon. We had a 4.5 in Peru, a 4.5 in Peru. We had a 2.8 in Hawaii. So warnings and watches for volcano activity in Hawaii. As I keep on repeating it. We had a 2.3 in Turkey, 2.3 in Alaska, 2.1 in New Zealand, 2.6 New Zealand, 2.1 New Zealand. Warnings and watches around Tapo, volcano there. 2.4 in Turkey, 2.6 in Italy, 2.4 in Australia, 3.3 in New Zealand. Warnings and watches for New Zealand area. 2.9 in New Zealand around a volcano, Takaha. So warnings and watches, just watches right now on that volcano. We had 3.5 in Greece again. Right, put the warnings. 2.0 California, 2.9 already in Greece again. All right, we had Italy. So warnings and watches for moderate to severe, strong, moderate earthquakes, all the way up to 6.5 in Europe around that region. The Mediterranean Sea is already repeated. 4.1 in the Caribbean Sea in Puerto Rico. 3.9 in Puerto Rico. 3.9 in Puerto Rico. Warnings and watches for moderate earthquake in the Caribbean Sea. All right, folks, be prepared if you live down the Caribbeans. All right, for 4.0 to a 6.0, possibly a 10% chance for 7 or greater. 4.0 in New Zealand, bro. I got the warnings out there, folks. 3.2 in Macedonia, 3.0 in Chile, around a volcano called Ikoya. Warnings and watches for that volcano. 2.2 in Alaska, 2.2 in Alaska, 3.2, another one in Greece. 2.0 in Hawaii, all right, around a volcano. Even says it. Another 2.2 in Hawaii, around a volcano. 2.4 in Hawaii, around a volcano. 2.4 in Hawaii, around a volcano. Another 2.7 Hawaii volcano. 2.7 Hawaii volcano. So if you live in Hawaii, folks, warnings and watches for eruption now. All right, we just seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 earthquakes. All right, 6 earthquakes earlier today. All right, around 19 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. So warnings for Hawaii volcano. We had a 4.3 in Greece. All right, got that warnings and watches for moderate to major earthquake. Moderate to strong 6.5. Nothing major. 10% chance. Something bigger, 7.0 or up. 3.3 in Greece. 2.2 New Zealand. Around a volcano. Watches 2.4 around Portugal. 2.2 around New Zealand. 2.2 New Zealand. Warnings and watches for that volcano. 2.1 in Europe. 4.5 North America. Alaska. 4.5 in Alaska. Now those are a little stronger. At least happens once a week, but I seen one on October 13th, folks. That's on some days. So warnings and watches for moderate to major earthquake in Alaska, West Coast. 3.0 Chile, 2.5 Alaska, 2.3 Hawaii, 2.3 Hawaii, 2.2 South America, 2.9 Greece, another one, 2.1 Turkey, 2.2 Turkey, 2.3 the Caribbean Sea, 2.1 U.S. Virgin Island. So as we scroll down, you see 3.7 in Alaska, around a Petro Bay, 3.7 around Petro Bay, 3.0, that's rare for France. Warnings and watches for moderate earthquakes. You got Italy, France, Greece, the Mediterranean Sea. You had 3.8 in Chile, 4.5 China. Excuse me. And then Chile was around a volcano too, folks. 3.1 around Portugal. Warnings and watches for volcano activity. A lot of volcano activity as we're going through this. A 3.9 in Georgia. 3.1 in Greece. 2.2 California. 4.5 in China. 2.1 in Greece. A 2.8 in Alaska around volcano. 4.7 in China. a 2.2 Turkey, 3.0 again around Caribbean, Dominican Republic, near Puerto Rico. We had a 6.4. A 6.4, folks, in China. 4.3, Chile. Around the San Pedro de Atacama. Volcano 2.0, Alaska. So warnings and watches for Chile for that. 2.3, Greece again. 6.8, Papua New Guinea. Alright. And as we scroll down, we can see the tsunami, all that. I'm going to bring you a whole separate video. This is just going to be right now because it's killing time right here. But we had volcano activity at in the Philippines today. And they don't really say nothing else. Some earthquakes around, so warnings and watches. Active tropical storm today around Lake Tabo in New Zealand. Alright, that's a Category 8 super volcano. It's a super volcano, one of the deadliest if it ever erupts. And we had activity at Lake Taupo. Alright, folks, so warnings and watches. We live in Australia and New Zealand. Also, Australia, New Zealand. Wakamare. Warnings and watches. Alright. Yellowstone was active October 11th. As we scroll down, October the 17th, Long Valley Cauldron, state of California, folks. It's happening today. Another October 17th in New Zealand, Taupo. Another super volcano, not the one up there that I was talking about. Alright, this, not Lake Taupo, but this super volcano, 7 out of 8, still major volcano erupts. It would destroy a lot of stuff surrounding it, but it's just activities, folks. It's called Ropier Cauldron, New Zealand. It's the Taupo volcano zone. And we got asteroids, but I already put warnings and watches as we scroll down. Alright, and this asteroid is called 2003 TL4. Alright, on October 27th, I'm going to bring you a video later, October 24th to the 27th, warnings and watches for 2003 TL4. And if you're asking why, it's because this is categorized 413260. They're really watching that. You can see all these, but when you look at like 16214, that done came close to Earth before, so they tag it. But this thing is the first time they tagged it. It comes 10.1 lunar distant, ain't that close, but it could change its track because it's unpredictable. That's why they label it, and it could come near Earth. Alright, now let's look at the tech plate. Alright, so when the solar wind's coming in our Earth, this is where all this active region for storms to be. Super strong, what it charged so far in the past 12 hours. And the velocity of it, all the way down from Central America to North, South America to South America. Alright, folks, let's move over. And this is where I put warnings and watches. Alright, on top of the warnings and watches for volcanoes, super volcanoes, space weather, solar stream coming in. We have a full moon, and it's a super moon. So the Earth crust is expanding just like the water. Alright. So I got warnings and watches, alright, around south of China, Thailand, Indonesia for moderate to major earthquake. Alright, moderate to major earthquake activity, all in the Central Pacific, all the west coast of the United States of America, west coast of Canada, all of Central America, down definitely around Nicaragua, Mexico, or Costa Rica, Panama, alright, Brazil. Alright, folks, warnings and watches in Brazil for moderate to major. Venezuela, Bolivia, Chile, Peru. Warnings and watches for moderate to major earthquakes. Alright. As we scroll over, you can check this out deeper where the pressure is really hitting into the earth. Right there in the middle of Central America and Central South America and then the northern region around Brazil. So warnings and watches. And I'm going to bring you more videos. Next is weather. Please rate, subscribe, follow me on Facebook. This is the No Face Movement. Move movement till next time. Facing off.